And it's 28 minutes after 6. You're still here on the AM show. If you've just joined us, we welcome you to our show. It's now time for us to do the newspapers. We will check out what's making headlines on the online portals as well. So, guys.
Good morning, Kojo.
Hello and good morning. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
You don't look like you were touched by even a drop of the rain.
I was mopping yesterday.
Oh,
I don't know, just because the direction of the wind was a bit too much. Yeah. Not a bit. It was more than. Yeah. I was wondering why only yesterday the meteo agency didn't warn us about yesterday's rains. I mean, if they had, though, would have discounted it?
They had closed by the time.
Well. I hope so.
If you have any experiences from the rains to share with us, yesterday Komla Adum, our colleague, was screaming on our platform. Some persons in his neighborhood wanting NADMO to come to their attention. We probably would have to call him a bit later this morning to find out if relief indeed came. Because this was around 1 a.m. and some people said, oh, the NADMO people, they are sleeping, or they wake up tomorrow morning and wear their stuff and go and do inspections. Hopefully. Whoever said that was wrong. Hopefully.
Yeah. Although I've got to say I had several messages from people across the city who were in distress and were asking me if I could put them in contact with NADMO. I sent a few messages around to some of the leadership of NADMO. And
did you get a response?
No.
Like yesterday, I also know that you encountered some events when you were getting home late
about
yesterday.
11:30 on the road that runs along the front of Trasaco, the Trasaco Valley Estates. It was a river.
Was it? I mean, that's supposed to be like a posh place. You shouldn't be shouldn't be seeing that kind of stuff there.
Our allergy of planning is not exempt from posh areas.
It knows no bounds.
Indeed. and this is the strange thing. As I was driving along slowly, in the moving torrents of water, I suddenly struck something very hard. And it started, in fact, my car started to drag. I couldn't move forward. And there were a couple of guys who were standing in the rain helping people because a lot of debris and stuff had flowed into the path of cars. And the guy just shouted, gas cylinder. Okay, so a gas cylinder had literally rolled, not rolled, but had been washed onto the street, and my car,
oh, wow.
Was dragging
went into it.
Wow.
Yes, my car was attempting to drag it.
Attempting.
So they pulled it out.
Wow.
And we could all smell gas.
Wow.
So this thing was leaking as well. It was hazardous situations. It will take in just one spark to create all kinds of difficulties.
Yeah.
So
good that you don't smoke, because that time it's cold, and when you're, I'm told that those who smoke, when they are stressed, they want to puff out a bit.
Thank God you survived that.
Survived.
It would have been a different story this morning.
Oh, thank God.
But if you have anything at all you want to share with us on the rains, how did you survive it? I mean, I was home all through. I had no idea what was happening.
It was raining at your place?
So this morning when I got out, and I had to change routes because you go and like a whole tree has fallen in the middle of the road, and you have to go back and stuff like that. Yeah. But I did mention I saw fire service. This is the main on the main Insawam Road after Sapeyman. National Fire Service around I think some few minutes to 5 in there trying to clear the trees. That was really, really a good thing. Until I met an accident. It was just some people had parked their vehicles trying to help the situation. So I hope that those who have left home already would not encounter any major traffic. But trust me, there will be traffic this morning. We'll bring you reports on what we see on the streets this morning. But let's do the newspapers, guys. Let's start with the Daily Guide, or let's start with the Daily Graphic, whichever way.
The Daily Graphic is fine.
Do you reckon? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I, please, the WhatsApp number is not, please don't call. Just send WhatsApp messages. No surprises.
Right, Daily Graphic front page. Ban on small-scale mining to be lifted soon. Roland already told us a bit about that. The president talking yesterday. Ghana first to eliminate trachoma. That's fascinating. I'll tell you a bit about it. Minister and GFA to meet FIFA in Zurich. GFA, really?
Yeah.
The minister, which minister?
The sports minister,
who
we're
said
told.
the GFA has been dissolved, is going with the dissolved GFA to meet FIFA in Zurich. Now, I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that meeting. Anas demanded $150,000 bribe from me. That's Kwesi Nyantakyi. And that story is on page 3. That's the banner headline of the Daily Graphic. I'll come back to it in a moment. But first, England secure late win against Tunisia. Belgium beat Panama 3-0. That was a thrilling game. Lukaku demonstrating his dominance in that game.
And writing something after that, like a tour. This is like the story of his life.
Yes, and it was quite an interesting read.
Yeah.
He's a great writer. He should look into it. Right, now, Anas demanded $150,000 from me, according to Kwesi Nyantakyi, and I know you guys will have a lot to say about this. But, sorry, says
he should name the person. That's what Anas is saying. We want names now.
He says Anas demanded it.
And, you know, Anas says that, listen, if I can even help you with my tiger eye to figure out who came to make those demands.
Talk about conflict of interest, eh? Right, okay, so... I want to read the quote. It says, "Let me also confirm that there was a demand on me through a lawyer to part with $150,000 for Anas to drop the videos on me. I didn't have the said amount of money to meet his demand." And then the story continues. He maintained that he did not support corruption in any form. This is Kwesi Nyantakyi, as it was counterproductive and undermined the credibility of any endeavor, but said he would condemn any, quote, premeditated and deliberately contrived scheme, as well as any prejudiced piece of work under the guise of fighting corruption, only for the purpose of pursuing the private agenda of people intended to tarnish my reputation and cause disaffection. And the quote ends there. Interesting posture from Kwesi Nyantakyi in that statement. Seeks to, let's say, clarify the issue of the money he received. First of all, he says the amount was not
65, it was 40K.
It was 40,000, and that it was a part payment for his expenses in attending this meeting. Then he says some lawyer was used to approach him asking for $150,000.
But he was able to raise 100,000. That was a spokesperson of his on the midday news on Joy FM yesterday.
So Anas's team were able to give him 40,000 cedis for his expenses.
Well, even that is debatable, because even we've had the Tiger IPR and its surrogates come out with, I think, the flights, booking tickets and all that.
But
just
if
to
you leave my
that they rather
statement
sponsored.
it will sound like I'm saying it happened.
I know.
I'm saying
just to get some clarity for the viewers out there.
I'm saying that according to Nyantakyi, Anas's team were able to give him 40,000 cedis, but are demanding 150,000 cedis from him to drop the story. And more importantly, he seems to think that the edited 1.5 hour video that we saw is the only thing he has to explain. He doesn't quite realize that, in fact, when this matter goes to court, and he ought to understand this, he's a lawyer, that it is only the unedited tape that meets the standard of evidence. So it won't be the edited tape that the lawyers will be debating over in front of a judge. No, it'll be the full, however long, all the time he was sitting waiting to be called into the sheikh's room, every single detail from the very beginning, how the conversation unfolded,
but
who
think,
started what, who said what, who suggested what.
People would say that wait till you find yourself in that situation when the entire country comes on you because of what they've seen and conclude and say all sorts of things. So to be fair, he's reacting also because of the public commentary, because of the things that people have said, and people have called him a criminal and all sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, he wants to clarify a few things.
I actually think that just like we surmised that the Tony Letha writ was a communication with someone or some people. Not all of us in the public, but some people. This might also be a communication with some people. You have to understand, Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Okay, but this was a press release.
This is the point I'm making.
This was for all of us.
What I'm saying is, it may actually be aimed at some people, not necessarily all of us. For the rest of us, we might read it and think, but we saw you in the video. Oh, but we heard what you said. But perhaps there are certain people specifically that he needs to convince. Perhaps he has to put something out there so that his family, his closest friends.
Well, he makes
don't forget, he has a wife, he has children.
So he apologized.
There has to be something they can hold on to when they are being, confronted in public and so forth. There must be something that they can hold on to. Perhaps that is the real purpose of a statement like this.
Well, personally, I think I want to see him in court, because he says he's going to go to court. He says, his spokesperson says that they've also triggered some kind of action. So they're taking the BBC, for instance, on as well. And we wait to see that process. I don't know, this whole back and forth really means nothing until you decide to battle it out in court, and we see that, you're onto something. So we wait to see what happens there. Until then, it will still fall out from what Mr. Nyantakyi put out yesterday, and his spokespersons have been speaking on the matter as well. We know Anas's lawyer, at least one of the lawyers, has also been speaking very much. So that's it. This is where we are with number 12. There's a lot more to come. Number 12. They said it. I hope they are not surprised themselves by the way things are going. So is there any other thing in the Daily Graphic newspaper you want to share?
In a pretty much related story, the minister and the GFA are to meet FIFA in Zurich. Proposed meeting between a delegation from Ghana government and football's world governing body in Zurich today has been rescheduled to a yet-to-be-confirmed date, according to the Daily Graphic. And, of course, Ghana's Minister of Youth and Sports, Mr. Isaac Isiama, wrote to FIFA last week requesting audience to brief the body about the current happenings in Ghana football following the screening of number 12. So, that's been postponed, and I guess we'll know once a new date is fixed. But Ghana has eliminated trachoma, and that, I suppose, and they say we are the first to eliminate trachoma. It's a fascinating story on page 16, and you can find out all the details. But basically, the global trachoma community has learned a lot from Ghana's experience and innovations, including the use of height-based dosing for, hear this, azithromycin, which is the drug used to combat trachoma. Systemic active case searches, and they've been going door to door, community by community, doing great field work, and that is how they have beaten this disease, which is the leading infectious cause of blindness around the world.
All right, let's do the Daily Guide. Roll.
All right, so we have the Daily Guide has on the front page, Nyantakyi announced in dogfight over $115,000 bribe. I think it was in one of those meetings. I can picture this very scene when the picture was
But listen, anybody could have taken advantage of the situation.
Yeah, you mean collecting the money?
Anybody could have made that move, I'm thinking.
What, you mean collecting the money?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But money wasn't given out. They didn't say they gave money. They said they were trying to raise it, or they didn't get the 150. Yeah.
Wait, you mean anybody could have approached Kwesi Nyantakyi and said, give me 150 to drop the case?
Said that I'm closer to the guy, so give me, we'll sort him out.
Well, he's a lawyer. I keep saying that. So I'm sure he understands,
what he's doing.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm sure he understands the standard to which evidence must reach before it is admissible. So perhaps
maybe he's got evidence.
Yes,
he's
perhaps he will be pulling out some videos.
Yeah.
In court.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Government to lift ban on small-scale mining, and we know the president, Nana Akufo-Addo. We brought you that story this morning. He had been promising that there's going to be a roadmap for that. But Ghana has signed a partnership deal with the state of Arkansas, the United States of America. But there's this interesting story about a lawyer slapped with some 12,000 Ghana cedi fine over fraud. The story is on page 3 of the paper, and it says an Accra-based lawyer, Samuel Tay, has been sentenced to pay a fine of some 12,000 after an Accra magistrate court said that he had defrauded his client to the tune of some 10,500 Ghana cedis. So he's supposed to pay an extra 1,500 and make sure that that is lodged before the courts, and subsequently the client will be giving what is due him.
Does that seem punitive enough, I wonder?
Yeah, well, I don't know how it is. Maybe just he behaved unethically. You never know what really the issue is. Let's go to the center spread. But before we get there, though, Donald Trump says the U.S. will not be a migrant camp. And we know that there's this ongoing issue of the policy of taking children away from migrants at the borders or when they're caught before, and then the parents themselves or the mothers are sent away.
They're prosecuted.
Yeah, so
whilst that is ongoing, they keep the children obviously away from them. But Trump has said that he's being forced to do this because the Democrats are preventing him from building that wall.
Yeah,
that wall that eventually will prevent the migrant from getting into his country in the first place.
There is so much of the identity of America that is changing under
Trump.
Under Donald Trump. I mean, the United States of America was a migrant camp. That's what it was.
Yeah.
For so many years. The whole nation's identity was built on the fact that they said, bring me you're sick, you're poor, you're whatever. Bring them, and we'll form a nation with them.
The American dream.
And all of a sudden, and Donald Trump's grandfather took advantage of that.
Yeah.
His wife.
Indeed. His wife. So when he says the United States will not be a migrant camp, it's a certain fundamental redefinition of the
But
nation,
don't you get
isn't
to a certain point where you put a cap on it? Because for how long can you open your doors and say,
Yes,
everybody,
well,
keep coming in?
You can put a cap on it
coming
today.
in.
No, but
It's still a migrant camp.
no, yeah, I do understand, but it's not as if that in a literal sense. It is a nation in which everybody is just invited to come and work. He's doing this within the economic context of America because he feels that the migrants, when they come in with the illegal state in which they are, tend to work for pittance at the expense of Americans who have papers, who have the right to documentation, who are citizens, and so do not get the right jobs and to get well and remunerated. I believe that's the context in which he's doing what he's doing.
But the evidence against that argument is just overwhelming.
That
And
what?
for
That
him
there
to
are enough
continue
jobs in
holding-
America?
Not that there are enough jobs in America, but that the migrant community contributes far more to the economy of America than any loss you can calculate.
There are some
true.
jobs that
Okay.
Native Americans will not do
Yeah.
anyway.
Indeed.
True.
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
so
But
I mean,
it doesn't mean that you have
for
to keep flooding your country with more migrants.
But for someone to hold on
It's
to
got
this
some
argument
socioeconomic
that
implications, I believe.
that has been defeated scientifically over and over and over again, for him to hold on to it, it just.
well, we should not do that.
And
Trump-
that's his policy, by the
Donald
way.
Trump has a lot
he
of
said America
critics,
first.
so-
I mean,
Well,
that's
right.
that was
And
on
then-
that basis that he.
Who is
he became
America?
that.
And then there's this story also coming out of Indonesia, but that's interesting. The man has been crushed to death by his mother's coffin.
Oh,
And this man, 40, died when a bamboo ladder collapsed as pallbearers tried to carry the coffin onto, I think, a stretch or the thing that they use in transporting the coffin during burial. And we know that the man has since been deposited at the morgue.
That's
And
tragic.
despite the onlookers trying inevitably to try to help revive him, he just died in the process. And that's a sad one. Let's go to the center spread. Nadia Buhari reveals 2 more babies. Nadia Buhari has surprised her followers with a revelation about 2 more babies she had in addition to her twins. And we're told that's 3 births in 3 years.
yeah, she slipped.
Hey, Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Then no, people start to calculate.
And then there were, we showed the
I
videos
thought we were
yesterday.
talking about. I thought the whole post, the whole idea.
No, I'm not saying
was
the birth. It's
was
here.
to celebrate the man that she's been with for 10 years.
Three.
But aren't
I'm
we
not
doing
saying
that?
that. But
Hey,
no, I
and men
admire
are doing
this.
the calculation.
Oh, no.
We are celebrating him.
No.
He's a very productive member of society.
I think I love Nadia Buhari's husband.
He's a man in a hurry.
Nice
the
man.
president will get on well with him.
Nadia has suffered at some point, especially when the twins came. Some people linked her to the former president's John Dramani Mahama.
Oh, yeah,
we linked her to Jim Ike, remember, especially when that's was it Jim Ike Unscripted was on the screen. So many things.
You said we linked. I thought they were involved. They were an item.
I think it was scripted, apparently.
Okay.
It wasn't real.
Yeah. So there's Nadia in her real self. Revealed the pictures eventually after the children. I think she's done well, keeping her private life private.
Yes.
But I wonder why
I
wonder why she decided to do this now.
Yeah, no, it's for people to see that you can live at a certain point and keep it private. Yeah.
But that at the same time, she hasn't actually done much work.
It was also on Father's Day to recognize the gentleman.
So that's why I'm saying that the whole focus was to celebrate the man.
The man.
And then no, you're calculating.
No, but men would deserve
she gave birth to 3 in 3 years.
Oh please, it's here. I'm reading from here.
How much calculation is required, Mama B?
You swamp pull out daily guide, not me.
We don't need a calculator to work this one out.
Talking about Nadia Buhari, we have another actress, Yvonne Nelson, disclosing that she will never be in a relationship with a man for financial reasons. We know that. We know that.
How do you know
we
that?
Do.
You're saying we say
no,
I know
she's
that.
also having the baby's daddy as a white person, so I know it's not because of money.
Because white people don't have money.
No, I'm not saying white people don't have money. Because you know white people, they are real. They love you because they love you.
Let's end it here.
Not black people, they love you one, they don't love you tomorrow. It's not.
Really? Like you boxed every black man into this?
All right.
Okay,
Kojo Jansen and his people.
I'll read the messages when it comes directly to you, Roland, unedited.
Please edit.
No, I will not. Let's do the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder, small-scale mining. Government sets criteria to lift ban. Kwesi Nyantakyi to take legal action against Anas over expose. Anas dares Nyantakyi to back claims with evidence. ECOWAS single currency feasible by 2020, according to Dr. Abriku. I started hearing about the single ECOWAS currency. How old was I then? Like I was very, very, very little.
Well, this idea was mooted back in the 70s.
And we're still here. This is 2018, people. Mobile money interoperability records 12.458 million Ghana cedis within a month. That story is on page 10. And it says fund transfers from one mobile network to another have witnessed consistent growth in the value and volume of transactions since mobile money interoperability was launched on May 10 this year. In the first month of operation, mobile money interoperability recorded a total of 136,469 transfers valued at about 12.458 million Ghana cedis, according to the data from Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems. You can read on. The story continues. There are other stories in the paper this morning, but really that's it for the Finder newspaper in terms of the headlines. No, just before I wrap up on that, I saw the story. It's an accident that was recorded, but just to remind all of us that 3 persons have lost their lives in a gory accident at Suhum. It's near the Glory Oil Fuel Station on the main Accra-Kumasi highway. The 3 men were part of passengers on board a Hyundai Alvan bus. They give the registration number heading from Accra to Suhum, which collided head-on with a trailer loaded with pallets and traveling from Kumasi to Accra at around 3 a.m. on Monday. And we've been recording these kinds of accidents in the past days. I hope that we're all careful when we hit the roads.
Do you know that Irvan is actually a model, an exclusive model of Nissan? They make the Nissan Urban buses.
Yeah.
But as we always do in Ghana, all toothpaste is Pepsodent.
Oh, so this may not necessarily be.
It's a Hyundai bus, which is the same shape and size as a Nissan Urban.
True.
Yeah, but we do that, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, we
every
graphic.
washing powder is over.
Every newspaper is a graphic.
Oh dear, yes.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what's in the Ghanaian Times graphic today. And sanitized mining sector, President calls for support from chiefs. We've heard all about that today. Nyantakyi Anas clash over number 12. Two Ghanaian Times reporters win awards. Congratulations to them. But this is a story that I thought was interesting. Police brutality on pregnant woman. IGP orders probe. This is a story that was broken by Joy FM. The IGP, Mr. David Asante Apietu, has directed the Ashanti Regional Police Command to commence investigation into the alleged assault on a 22-year-old pregnant woman. This woman was chained to a door and beaten with sticks.
By the police.
By the people
in Ghana.
we pay to protect us.
They're refuting
Yes.
that allegation.
Are you sure this is in Ghana?
But you know, it's everything is so bizarre. So she was in a quarrel with her sister, and then police suddenly comes in, and then she's changed. Well, the fact is this: from the hospital, the doctors say, from what they've seen, it could not be. I mean, this is somebody who's been beaten. This is not somebody who wanted to commit suicide.
The police insist.
That's the angle.
Yes, the police insist
she was suicidal.
That she was suicidal after a fight with her sister.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that happened.
But I think that the police needed to be more responsible. If they thought maybe she was delirious in any way, send her to the psychiatric hospital.
No, they chained her to a door instead. And they claimed that while she was there, she started to inflict wounds on herself. So you, someone who you consider to be vulnerable because they are in a mental state, is hurting herself, and you chain her to a door and watch her.
Yeah,
that's what the police, emergency services are doing, and that is the explanation.
It's a shame, man.
Yeah, it is, and it's also about you know sometimes individuals are responsible for those institutions taking the right decision at the right point in time, and many of the times they don't. They don't at all. They try to take matters into their own hands. But let's go to the Business and Financial Times before we go to myjoyonline.com. 30% of government revenue goes to debt repayment, and that's according to the Institute of Economic Affairs. And this coming within all the argument of what the performance of the Ghana cedi is to the US dollar and the other international currencies. This is also quite crucial. We've been doing that for a number of years now. Government using a whopping, we're told, 30% of its revenue to pay debts. And even though this is in a report, we've known this. It's been in the budget.
But we keep borrowing. So when you borrow, you have to pay back.
Well, the campaign will tell you that don't borrow, or if a government is borrowing, it's bad.
You can't live without it.
I know, right? And currently, the country's debt to GDP stands at 145 billion Ghana cedis, representing 60%, a decline from 69.8% recorded at the end of 2017. But according to the Bank of Ghana, as out of the end of 2018 February, our debt stood at 68.2 billion Ghana cedis and all that.
Pay.
Yeah. So we have great implications as far as this is concerned for expenditure, what we can do with what we earn over the period, and how that can influence the type of development we undertake. But we've had a former finance minister, Setekpe, encouraging or advising the current minister to make use of what we call building a sinking fund with the oil revenues that we have. There's an argument that the opposition will not win, and I'm sure when power should change one day, it will also be the same. So,
okay, so time is not our best friend. We're just going to run through the rest of the headlines and then we go online.
Sure, right. Daily Dispatch, controversial Anas expose, Nyantichi speaks and Anas answers. Will make GPC a world-class regulator, according to Egbert Fable. Minority takes on Baumia over Cedi. Now, this story, excluding NACOB from port checks, is disturbing, according to Kwesi Inning. And this is basically following the announcement of the Vice President that at the ports there will now be only 3 institutions present, which means that NACOB and national security are not going to be there. You know, I wonder what that means.
It means cocaine can fly in, literally.
And not just cocaine, but, you know.
You don't know that for sure.
Arms, weapons. Well, it means they are not there. That's what it means, okay?
It means they'll not check. They'll not be available to check.
They will not be there, okay? So what are the security arrangements that have been made in their absence? Those are the questions we now need to ask.
Fair.
You know, have these things been thought through?
All right, final one. Today newspaper, real quick. Anita De Soso blames Nana Kweredu for NDC woes. Priscilla angry at GSBL. Police sells for rent. Asoga Copper Nyantechi Anas fight over number 12 video. Basically what's making the front page headline, the Today newspaper. Let's do some of your messages whilst we get ready to do myjoyonline.com. This message says the flood was terrible at Sakomono Junction. You didn't include your name. Kindly add your name when you send us messages. This person says, is Nyantechi telling Ghanaians he was aware of the video even before it was shown to the president? And besides, how much was Anas going to use out of the Nyantechi's $150,000 to pay BBC? He should know the corruption in GFA was always in the news before the investigations. Nyantechi should bow down in shame. Okay, you go on and on and on, but this is where I have to end it. Thank you very much for your message. This person says, Kweku Baku Jr. did say before the premiere of number 12 that a lawyer attempted to bribe Anas to drop the story, collected money from Nyantechi but returned the money back to Nyantechi eventually out of fear. Check your news file archives. Jesus in Tamale. Is that your real name though? This one says
Jesus. Yeah, it's normal. It's a normal name in Latin
This one
America.
says, I want to work
There's one
with
playing the
Anas.
World Cup.
Let's expose more. And more messages. This one says, Nyantechi thinks we are small boys and girls in Ghana. Whether 400 or 600, the point is he has taken and was planning to take over the whole country. Locomotion in Kintampo. Look at the way you put it. Let's read some of the earlier messages that came through. Nantoma Mohammed in Badi. Okay, says the rains are in and the floods are here with us again, but before we can do away with the floods and other sanitation issues in the country, we need to manage our individual attitudes first. Ghana is the only country we have, so let's help build Ghana. Hashtag keep it clean. One more and then we go online. This is Joseph Odro Mafo inside Bestro Kumewu. Super incompetent Vice President Dr. Baumia has done his disappointing. Okay, yeah, okay, no. I think that message. Yeah, okay. Let me leave it here. We'll come back to more of your messages. Let's do myjoyonline.com.
Right, claim Mahama diverted $13 million development fund is absurd and diversionary. That's from the office of the former president. They are contesting the claim.
Yeah,
that he diverted.
we want to, because we've got the press release. We want to read that statement to you. Will be on your screens in a bit, but this is it. We have taken. The heading is former President John Mahama is incorruptible. We have taken notes of the circulation of what news reports mischievously say is a petition to the Special Prosecutor's Office to investigate former President John Dramani Mahama for allegedly allowing the diversion of $13 million from a private company, EO Group, and meant for the development of the Western region. The above is obviously another false and dubious claim. Furthermore, the said petition is another orchestrated but failed attempt by the NPP government to divert attention from the numerous corruption scandals suffocating it. Former President Mahama, unlike President Nana Addo, is incorruptible. He, therefore, welcomes the said petition and expects the special prosecutor, who the petitioners claim is the originator and source of the false and dubious claims, to expeditiously commence its work. It eventually makes mockery of the special prosecutor that the surrogates of the NPP will cite as their evidence an article they say was written by him. This is a man who, during his public vetting before Parliament, said the allegations he made against various people over the years were based on perception. To suggest, as the petition claims, that the president can divert funds from a private company in the circumstances described is absurd. It's signed by Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, Special Aid, dated Monday, June 18, 2018. So that's the statement.
How do you feel when you hear people describe themselves as incorruptible? You heard them say that about Akufo-Addo in the campaign.
They are nice words.
And now, I mean, incorruptible, really? First of all, let's be real. Nobody is incorruptible. It's not even possible. But secondly, let's take facts. Didn't Shraj say that former President Mahama should not have taken the Ford gift? So, are we being factual? Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Let's run through real quick the rest of the stories. Fred, flow with us. Back to myjoyonline.com.
Unavailable market compels Ofuasi craftsmen to abandon age-old trade. I feel terrible when I hear things like this.
Oh no.
Ofuasi, of course, is in the Echuma Kwahoma.
Is that Kojo Oponkomer's constituency?
Right. That's right.
Ofuasi Ayiribi.
Yes, Ayiribi is another town there.
Okay.
And it's all in the Ashanti region. They've abandoned the age-old trade.
Ayiribi is in the eastern region.
Is it
Maybe
the
this
eastern
one
region?
is just one of the towns.
This is in the Ashanti region.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is not Ofuasi Ayiribi then?
Yeah.
Okay. See, we nearly rewrote geography lessons here. But yes, the people of Ofuasi in the Ashanti region are really facing the end of a very viable skill. Future Dams lead supervisor wants government to rethink One Village, One Dam initiative. Oh dear. They're being advised, the government is being advised to take a second look at its proposal to build a dam in every village in Ghana in order to reap optimum results. So you can learn more about this story on myjoyonline.com. The government to review tax exemptions granted under the Common External Tariff. About time, if you ask me. And Kane saves the Queen as 11-minute and 11th hour goals sink error-prone Tunisia. And Harry Kane, I've got an eye on him for, top goal scorer in this tournament.
In this tournament?
I think he has.
My eye is on Lukaku.
Yeah, Lukaku also scored
he scored yesterday.
Okay, well, then you have to add Ronaldo.
He's leading.
He's leading at the moment,
Three
isn't
goals.
he? Yeah.
They've all got it in their foot. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done, guys.
Yeah, I think we're done basically because we have to bring
our World Cup moments. Benedict is here.
I was impressed with England yesterday.
I thought he would be in his whites. The England jersey, but he's not. Akwesi,
as well.
what's up?
Yeah, Adi, how are you?
Joy Sports.
Good.
And yesterday, England did the do for me. Yeah, just like Kazakis who always do the do. England also did the do. Yeah, that was a very good.
You know, I don't know, the English, we talk about the English media and how they focus excessively, like they are obsessed.
So the thing is, they hide their team.
I decided to listen to the commentary on the BBC. Oh boy, like in 30 minutes, they thought the game should have been like a done deal. They gave themselves like 4-0, 5-0.
You know when Harry Kane scored?
They should have been up by maybe 3 goals.
I beg. We've seen previous games where we also thought they could have scored more.
And you know when Harry Kane scored, when that ball went in, the winning goal, how the commentator screamed.
Okay.
If you didn't watch highlights or if you didn't see the goal, you might think that Harry Kane dribbled from center to goal.
I thought it was
I was watching even live TV. Do you know how they say, "Can England?" And
I thought it was a biased commentary.
And it was the same thing.
It was only England playing. It was so biased.
But of course it was.
Oh,
commentary.
But yesterday they played very well.
Commentary is not exactly like political journalism.
So
I know, but these are how many teams are playing at the World Cup? This was only England.
No, but yesterday they played very well.
How I wanted them to lose.
I mean, they played as a team.
I'm supporting England.
I wanted them to lose, but
and by the way, look, the English understate everything except their prospects in a football game.
Oh, really?
Look, they will understate everything. The richest man in England will say, "Oh, I've got a few coins." You know, they always understate everything. Not their chances in a football game. No, they're giants in football. But let's see how they do. This year, I really hope they go the distance.
I also think that they will go very far.
I hope they drop out from the group stages.
I hope they go to the semi-finals. They'll probably win the World Cup. You never know. It's been a while.
I think
that the English have made noise.
Benedict, I'm thinking that out of all the teams, all the noise that we've made about Brazil, I don't think we made too much noise about Portugal.
Oh, well, it's early days
we made a lot of noise about Germany. I think Belgium now, I am convinced, is the team to beat.
Marvi, please don't be flattered by the performance you saw yesterday. We saw same with this Belgian team in the Euros. They started very well. Even their second game, they won. They couldn't even go past the quarter-final stage. So please take it.
Really,
take it easy.
Okay, but not England. Not England.
So that's why I said it's early days yet. So
Charles, get me an England jersey. I'm adding it to my Brazilian one.
I will.
Over to you.
All right, so we'll talk about the matches that we played yesterday, and also look ahead to the big game later tonight, the game involving host nation Russia and then Mohamed Salah's Egypt after this break.